Shall I start? Okay. Welcome to Practically. This is Nagarani. Today's our social session starts with a new topic from democratic politics, that is importance of democracy in the contemporary world, and we also discuss about the constitution framing. Let us have in detail. In earlier classes, we have learned about the geography concepts and from history topics, and today we will learn little bit differently from democratics. Okay, today's word is back of this word which we call democracy. What do you mean by this democracy? Can I have a chat? Can I have an answer from you all in the chat box? What is democracy? Why today's world run back of this democracy? Can I have from you all? So our session begins from here. The importance. Why it's so important? Okay. So let us have a discussion on this. Okay. So what is democracy? See, democracy is a form of a government. See, in the previous years, the world was back of a monarchy system where the monarch, kings and queens ruled the country. So since after the French Revolution, we have come across in the French Revolution and in the Russian Revolution, how for the monarchical rule has disrupted the countries and how the people were expecting for the change in the nations. Okay, so let us have a discussion now how this democracy was established in the world countries. So first foremost thing is that the people's ideology has been changed. Okay, the way they change their ideologies, and this the people have taken in different ways in different countries. Okay, so many people have defined this word democracy, but the most important definition which was defined by Abraham Lincoln, that is regarding democracy, is a democracy is a form of a government where people elect their representative. Okay, so it's based on of the people, by the people and for the people, which is defined by Abraham Lincoln. So let us have today's exact meaning, and the simple meaning of democracy is nothing but it's a form of a government where the people select their representatives, who elect the representatives. When you take an example of like a monarchy system or a dictator's type of system where the rulers were not elected by the people. Okay, monarch system is a supreme authority person who comes into the post or come ascend the throne on based on hereditary. Okay, whereas the dictatorial form of system where the one who comes into the power, he commands the people, he rules the people without any policies, without any one considerations. Okay, so we call this dictatorial rule. He commands or order the people as his own wish. He doesn't take consideration of any of the people. Okay, so and coming with the military form, like where the countries were under the military control. So it's different types of democracy, different types of governments exist in the world countries. But present, it's most importantly the countries were in the form of democracy. So let us have a look. In the next, what is democracy? See, what is the most common form of democracy in today's world? It's called as option A, direct democracy, option B, parliamentary democracy, option C, representative democracy, or presidential democracy. Which one is the right option? Which is the most common form of democracy in the world countries, in today's world countries? It's the representative democracy. So it's most of the countries selecting the representative, representing in the sense on behalf of people, the one who take decisions were called as representatives. Okay, so we call them as a representative democracy. Okay, so let us have a look the spirit of democracy. See, Gandhiji has described a word. He said that democracy cannot be established in the midst of terrorism, or whether the governmental or the populace. Okay, it's a form of a democracy should exist with the spirit. Okay, it should exist with its spirit. If that spirit does not exist, it says that we cannot, it's not a complete form of democracy. The spirit of democracy is that people's representative. People should be the participants in the democracy. Okay, so you mean to say in this status. And this, let us have a look. What is democracy? See, the representatives will form the government and make the policies. So the one whom we are electing, either the prime minister or the chief minister or any local representatives, we are electing them in the process of elections, and those will form a government. Okay, so they make the policies on behalf of people according to the power and functions given by the constitution. So this is called democracy basic principle. Okay, so it's called a basic principle. And coming with what is democracy, people also have the power to remove the representatives whenever they need. They are not functioning appropriate. Okay, so people have complete rights over in the democratic form of government. And what is democracy? The word democracy has been derived from a Greek word. It's called demo and kritik. Okay, demos means people and kratia means rule. Okay, it's a rule where people's rule. Okay, coming with this word was defined by famous personality, that's none other Abraham Lincoln, one of the greatest president of USA, 16th president of USA, and he has defined this word democracy. Many people have defined this word, but most popular definition worldwide used, that is, which is defined by Abraham Lincoln, it's nothing but of the people, by the people, and for the people. Okay. Okay, of the people, by the people, and for the people. These words also have a lot of meaning. Of the people, the government is formed of the people, from the people itself, and it's formed by the people itself, and for whom sake it is been formed, it's for people's sake. Okay, so that's the meaning of this word defines that. And coming with democratic countries, there was a changes. Okay, coming with 1900 to 1950s, there was a lot of changes. From 1900s to 1950s, some of the countries you can find here, they were changing to democratic countries. Okay, so in the next map, you will be seeing that in 1975, there are only very few countries, they were under democratic. And coming with the present 2000 map, this is the many countries which are under democratic, which are non-democratic, the countries which are not the people representatives, which were not under the control of people, and which are under different non-democratic system. So we can find in this map with the help of this map. Let us have a question. There are 40 villages in a district where the government has made provinces for drinking water. These villagers met and considered many methods of forcing the government to respond to their need. Which of these is not a democratic method? Can you tell me which is not a democratic method? See, option A, filing a case in the court claiming that water is a part of right to life, boycotting the next elections to give a message to all the party, organize the next elections to give a message to all the parties, paying money to the government officers to get the water. So which one the two villages have to opt, or two which is based on democratic method? How could that you can say that it's not a democratic method? Which one of the following is not a democratic method? So the answer is boycotting the next elections to give a message to all the parties. So we cannot use this as a method. And coming with next, difference between democracy and non-democratic. Democratic governments and non-democratic governments. Democratic government form representatives. They select the representatives. Okay, they elect their representatives on behalf of governments were formed. People elect the representatives. So these representatives will form the government. Okay, the representatives are elected free and fair elections. There is no any type of malpractices. Okay, and major decisions were taken by elected leaders. The citizens have right to oppose or criticize or question, and government should be accountable to the people. Okay, the government should be answerable for their actions, for their policies, and for their executions. They need to be answerable. The citizens have voting right, one person, one vote, and one value. These were the democratic government. The democratic government exists these policies, these features. Okay, whereas coming for the non-democratic government, it is ruled by a force. Okay, the force is applied on the people. People do not have any type of freedom or liberty by a person or a group of persons, either a person or a group of persons or a group of organizations, or such. If the countries were in such form, we can call them as a non-democratic countries. Representatives are not elected by the people. Major decisions were taken by non-elected leaders. No criticism. In non-democratic countries, the government will not allow people to express their opinions, and they will not given any censorships for the press and media and all. Everything will be under their control. No voting right is given to the people. No proper voting. Even if they provide, it will be malpractices take place. So such type of cases also we can say that it's a non-democratic form of government. So this is how can you define a country a democratic, or how can you say a country is a non-democratic? So with these features we can analyze. So let us have a few of the case studies about few countries. How could we say that it's a democratic or a non-democratic? Okay, so let us have a look regarding a few of the countries here. Okay, features of a democratic countries, that is features of democracy. The first most important part of a democracy is that the rulers were elected by the people only. The rulers were act according to the principles, according to the welfare of the people. Okay, they give the service on behalf of people. They give the services to the people. Okay, the rulers were act on behalf of people. In simple word, we can say the major decisions. The second point is major decisions were taken by elected leaders, and the people should have to elect the leader. There should be a free and fair manner of election process. There should not be any type of malpractices. Election in regular intervals. There should be a regular intervals elections. Okay, in the sense like if it is a 4 years or if it is a 5 years. In few countries they conduct for 5 years. In few countries they conduct the elections for 6 years. So it depends upon the regular intervals, they should conduct elections. One person, one vote, one value. Only a person should have one vote value. So it's rule of law and respect of rights is also one of the major feature of a democracy. Let us look what are these, how this functions. Okay, let's have a question for you all. And who passes the legal framework order? Who passed legal framework order? Can I have an answer from you all? Yes? Yeah. Option A, Lincoln. Option B, Robert Mugabe. Option C, General Musharraf. And option D, none of these. Which one of these following was defined this legal framework? It's General Musharraf. So we can say, who is this Musharraf? Which country he belongs to? Can you tell me who is this Musharraf? He belongs to? Yeah? Okay. So Musharraf belongs to Pakistan. Okay. And why do we discuss about Pakistan here? The major decisions were taken by elected leaders. Why we are taking a case study of Pakistan here? This General Musharraf, as soon as he has come into the power, he have introduced this legal framework. Under this, he has removed all the representatives' powers. Okay, he have abolished the representatives' powers and he took the powers under his control. So let us know what policy it is. In Pakistan, people formally have elections for their parliament and they form the government and they really have a power with those who is not elected by the people. But like that, there was a policy here. And into this, according to this policy, you can see here General Musharraf, earlier he was a military commander. Okay, in October 1999, General Pervez Musharraf was overthrown the democratic. Earlier it was a democratic, but in 1999, he has taken the power under his control. He took the power of the country under his control and he declared himself as a chief executive of this nation. Okay, so he introduced this policy called legal framework, and in 2002 he issued a legal framework order. According to this order, the president can dismiss all the provincial governments. Okay, all the provincial assemblies, whatever the assemblies were formed at the state levels, different provinces, different divisions, that all has been, that the legal provincial assemblies he have cancelled and it took the powers under his hands, under the president only. The work of the civilian cabinet is supervised by the National Security Council, which is dominated by the military officers. Okay, so this military officer is nothing but none other, that is Pervez Musharraf. So finally, the decisions and powers were in his hands. Okay, the final decisions, if the first point and the simple point is that when there is no major decisions were not taken by the elected leaders, we can say that it's not a democratic. So during the period of Pervez Musharraf in Pakistan, it's called a non-democratic government. Okay, so first point of that. Coming with free and fair electoral competition. Free and electoral competition was existing in many of the countries. That means people should have a freeness to select their leaders, to elect their representatives. They should not be forced by, okay, they should not be bribed or they should not be corrupted by bribing some things and money and different articles like, okay, so they should have a choice to select their representatives. In democratic countries, rulers should truly should select their representatives. Okay, this is called free and fair election. So for this, we will study another case study of a different country, free and fair elections, and there should not be any type of threat among the people. Okay, those people who are currently in the power, okay, should have a fair chances of losing. Okay, so if it is malpractices, the person who is not good, if he do malpractices, the person who is fairly contesting in the elections, whose service is needed to the people, so his choice may be loses. Okay, so we should give a choice to the people to elect the person, and also they should have a competition also. There should be a competition, there should be healthy competition. Okay, people should allow to contest in the election, and if we doesn't elect the person, if we doesn't allow the person to contest in the elections, if only a single person contests in the elections, how can we call it as a democracy? We doesn't call it as a democracy. If you take example, like if I tell you a small example, like if you go to a shop where there is, in a village, you need to purchase a dress. You were in in small village where there is only one single shop, and you need to have a dress for spot for a party. Okay, so what do? You go to that shop, and whatever is best in that shop itself, you purchase that dress. That means you do not have choice of that. So you need to compromise yourself and you need to purchase. Otherwise, if you have too many shops there, what do? You go to different shops and you find the best one which you require. So the people should have that electoral competition. That competition should be exist among the people, so that they can select the right choice. Okay, so we can see that free and electoral competition. So for this, we'll study about the case of China. In China, the elections were held for every 5 years, and here also the parliament was called as National People's Congress. Okay, this Congress will select this Congress has a power of appointing a president of the country, and here also the elected representatives, we can say they are of 3,000 members all over the country. Okay, so out of that, this National People's Congress will form the government. But what is the thing here in China? They do not allow the other parties to contest in the elections. Only a single party. Okay, it's a single party country, that is CPI, Communist Party. So it's only a single party is allowed. Either the party should be allied with the CPI, Communist Party, or else it should be the contestants has to participate on behalf of only one party. And if there is only a single party, policies will be, the ideology will be only a single type of ideology. The people cannot have changes in their lifestyles. Okay, they cannot expect any change. Every time the same government, same party rules it, they do not have any changes. The ideology of that party also will be existing in the same way. So the people do not have electoral competition there. Okay, so that's what we say that China is also not a democratic country. Let's come for the next one is one person, one vote, one value. Every person should enjoy their vote, right? Okay, they should cast only a single vote. One person, one vote, we can say. And in this form, we can say few examples, like first will be discuss about Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, women were not allowed to vote. When you see that half of the population, most probably more or less, there will be almost a little less or more, they are equal to men. Women also exist. The population of the country, there are more number of women even, we can say. Okay, so the women were not allowed to vote. Okay, recently they have made some changes. Now there were women allowed to vote. Even they did not allow for driving. They were not sanctioned any driving license even. So how could we say if half of the population of the country was not allowed to vote? So we cannot say such countries as a democracy. Okay, so other example like Estonia. Estonia is also a country. There are minorities in the country who have migrated from Poland, their forefathers, and though for them they have not recognized as the citizens. Okay, they did not allowed any citizenships to them. So minority groups were not allowed to write to vote. So how could we say Estonia as a democracy? We cannot consider it as a democracy. It's coming for the other one of an island, Fiji. It's near Australia. We can say here even indigenous Fijis, the natives of the Fijis, are only allowed to vote. Those who have migrated, their forefathers and settled there, those people have not given any citizenship rights over in that particular country. So such of these nations were not considered as a democratic countries. Okay, so we see there was a lagging that all the population of the country were not given voting right. So the concept of one person, one vote, one value was not existing in these countries. So we can say that these countries. So as part of an exam, your examination, they can say that which feature is not existing in these so and so countries. Okay, identify the country where there is free and for one person, one vote, one value was lagging, or where it was absent, or which is not incorrect, which is correct. So such type of questions you may get for your NTSE exams. Next, rule of law and respect for rights. So where you see rule of law, everyone should follow the constitutions which are framed by the countries. Okay, they should respect the rights of every citizens. Okay, from common man to the president or the prime minister, everyone are equal in front of law. Okay, they should respect everyone's rights. So this is what a democracy principles, one of the feature of the democracy. So here we'll discuss about a country called Zimbabwe. Here you can find a personality here. His name is Mugabe. Okay, he was the person who has struggled for the country during the freedom movements to get independence. He has started a party, and on behalf of this national party, he has lead national movements. Even later on, the party has come into power. So he has introduced several other deviations. So let us see now. Before that, you have a question here. The following countries do not have a democracy or not a democratic country. Option A, India. Option B, USA. Option C, China. And option D, UK. Which of the following was not a democratic? You can say China. See, China, there was no electoral competition. Okay, so we can say China is not a democratic country. Okay, so about Mugabe will read. Yeah. This Zimbabwe, in Zimbabwe, the party name it's called as JANU PF. Okay, JANU PF. Okay, so it's a party which was formed in that country, and under this party, okay, the Robert Mugabe was the leader of this country, and he led the movement of the country for the independence. As soon as he has come to the power, he has used his own methodologies, and he introduced, he took the whole control of its under his hands. And during the elections times, okay, during the elections, he has changed the polling stations, and even he have malpracticed the people to vote for them. Okay, right, and he has been given do not allow the people to speak or criticize or express their ideas against the government, and he has abolished the censorship powers to the media and press even. So this is the person belongs to Zimbabwe. Okay, now let us know about what is this democracy, the merits and demerits of democracy. We can say that democratic country is a better form of government, and where there is the people are allowed to question the government, and they are accountable to the government. Government should be accountable to the people. It should be answerable. Okay, so we can say in democratic government there was few arguments even. Okay, few were saying that its democracy is the best form of government. Few were arguing that democracy is decisions were lagging, like decisions were lagging, and few areas we can find that democracy leads for delays, decisions are delayed over here. So we say that democracy is a better form. Why? Means democracy, in a democratic country, even though decisions were delayed, but right decisions will be taken. Okay, so it will avoid the conflicts among the group of people. So let us have next. Next topic about Constitution of India. Here, this is about Constitution. It's most important topic, and it has more weightage in the NTSE, and a question from Constitution definitely covers. Okay, the Constitution is a set of rules and regulations of a country. It's a documentation. Okay, it's a documentation on which the country follows its policies, and how far the rights and duties of the people, and at the same time how the government should function, every organ of the government, every level of the government, how to function, what were its powers, what were its limits, everything was being specifically mentioned in this Constitution. Okay, it's a document which contain complete detailed structure on what basis the country has to function. Okay, so here you can see a copy of preamble. Preamble is a statement or the first copy on which basically the Constitution exists, on what the Constitution was existing. Okay, it's called a preamble of the country. Here you have a question, children. Which statement is the correct regarding the meaning of the preamble of the Constitution? What is the preamble? What is the preamble? Option A, it's a short statement of Constitution basic values, a preliminary vision of legal document, an institutional design, and option D, a distinct section of a document. Which one of the following is the right? The answer is a short statement of the Constitution. Complete Constitution exists on what? That is being mentioned in the first page of this preamble. You can find in this the first sheet on overall, we the people of India solemnly resolving to constitute India into a sovereign democratic republic, and to secure all its citizens justice, social, economic and politics, liberty of thoughts, express beliefs, faiths and worship, equality of status and opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individuals and the unity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1946, to adhere by, adopted or enact and given to ourselves, we have taken this Constitution on November 1946. The constitution was framed. Okay, we have adopted the constitution November 26, 1949, and it started implementation. That means it has come into effect. We started using it, implementation, from Jan 26, 1950. Okay, so we can say and be clear with the question that whether the constitution adopted or came to the effect. Adopted means you should write this date, November 26, that is 1947, or if it's the question is regarding when does it come into effect, it's 26 January 1950. Okay. Another question here, which one of these was most silent underlying conflict in making of democratic in South Africa? Let us have a look about South Africa. Okay, so why there was a lagging, why there was a conflict among the people on based on democratic. Okay, so let us have a option A, between South Africa and its neighbors, where it was the conflict allied among the people. Okay, between men and women, between the white majorities and the black minorities, between the colored minorities and the black majority. So among where this conflict lying in South Africa? Yes. Option A, B, C, D. Which one is the right option? Yeah. Your answer is between the color minorities and the black majorities. Okay. This is the continent of Africa. In Africa, South Africa is one of the country. Okay. So let us know what happened. Why do we read before going for Indian Constitution? Why do we have to read South Africa? Let us have a look. Okay. The name of this autobiography written by Nelson Mandela, a famous personality in South Africa, whom we have to know before that. Let's answer this question. What is autobiography called? Option A, Robben Islands, The Long Walk to Freedom, The Blacks, The Apartheid. Yeah. Your answer is The Long Walk to Freedom. So his autobiography was called as The Long Walk to Freedom. He was a person, Nelson Mandela, who was a famous personality who have struggled hard for the country and finally achieved freedom to the nation. And he was a great gift for the country. He helped the people and he have fought for the nation, and there was an issue among the people, two categories, blacks and whites. Okay, the blacks based on race, color, race. Okay, so based on their race, the people were discriminated. Okay, so he fought for the people, supported the black minorities. Okay, so let us know what did he do for the country. Nelson Mandela, he was born in 1918 and he was there till 2013, and okay, most able, efficient and far-centered leader, and he was very important person in the country, who has even fought for the country when he was in the prison. Okay, so for 24 years as he was in the prison, he has fought he have struggled for the country. He led the movement in the nation. Okay, and fought against the apartheid. Apartheid was a concept which was most familiar in South Africa. That means there was a segregation of people, whites and blacks. Okay, so blacks were being discriminated on based on race. So to support these blacks, he has fought for that. The segregation was called as apartheid. Okay, against apartheid he has fighted during the white South African government. He spent 28 years in the prison, 1964 to 1992, and he led a movement. Struggle against apartheid, and during 18th and 19th century this apartheid was existing, and Europe occupied South Africa and settled there. Europeans have been settled there, and they took completely control of the nation, and the minorities, the natives of the country, were being dominated by these whites. Okay, whites and black colored people, and along with that there is another migrants also. They are called as colored people. Okay, so these were existing in the nation. A system of racial discrimination was in South Africa. You can find here whites, these were whites, these were blacks, colored people. Okay, this is called apartheid. Segregation of people based on race, it's called racial discrimination. So this have a specific word called apartheid. Yeah, apartheid. In what way they have apartheid? They have completely, not only in many angles they have discriminated, not even allowed in the bus base, even at the hospitals the people were segregation. They were not allowed to the white areas until and unless they have the permit to enter. So in all the areas you can find here, see how the people fought for against this racial discrimination, protested against even buses. Okay, public buses were also not allowed to climb by these blacks. Only whites have to board into the bus, and blacks were not allowed it. And even beaches, we can find beaches were also not allowed. So under the supervision of, under the leadership of Nelson Mandela, African National Congress ANC was formed in 1950. Black and colored and Indian fought against this system. Even Gandhiji have supported Nelson Mandela when he was in Africa for law practices, including workers' unions, communities, and incentive whites joined in this movement. In 1964, Nelson Mandela and 7 other leaders were sentenced to lifelong under imprisonment. Okay, but he did not stop his struggle. From there itself, from prison itself, he started he encouraged the people, and he have motivated the people of that nation to fight against this racial discrimination. Many of them have lost their lives. Many thousands of people have killed in this under this racial discrimination. You can find the cautious. That means be aware of natives. They should not be. They were oppressive system of blacks. Blacks were segregated, separated, and they were forbidden to not to live in the white areas. Okay, they were not allowed to work as even maids, not even allowed to work as a maids in the until and unless they have the permit. Okay, so discrimination was in all the public utilities and public properties, like blacks could not visit the churches even, okay, where the whites were worshipping. So racist government changed their policies. Okay, these policies have been changed. So the discrimination laws were repealed. Whatever the laws, the parties which have fought for that, so their demands were to uplift these blacks. Okay, their natives, and the common structure should be developed in the country. Okay, so the main demand was to make a common system in overall the nation, and also to relieve the people who are in the prison. Okay, so 28 years after these people were being released. Which of these was the most silent feature? Okay. Now, so after 28 years, at the midnight of 26th April 1994, the country was recognized as a republic. Okay, so here all multiracial government, not either a white or a black or colored, all together. The black forgave the whites even. So both of them, blacks and whites, decided to build a new nation here, and equality based on democratic values, okay, social justice and human rights. So we can find here, after 2 years of discussion and debates, finally they have drafted a constitution for their country. Okay, so this was the main intention. So we can, why do we read today, means on what basis this country have been struggled, and finally they have drafted the constitution for the country. On why do they require the constitution here? The first most important question is that why the concept of constitution? Why means, again, the whites may not use their powers to dominate or discriminate in the further, or the blacks may not take a revenge on whites. So not to avoid the conflict, to avoid the disputes among the people, these blacks and whites togetherly framed a constitution on what they have to function. Okay, so this was what. Let us have a Indian preamble and South African preamble over here. Indian preamble is that the words which are like sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic, equality, justice, liberty and fraternity based on. So we can find here, we the people of South Africa, recognizing injustice of our past, whatever the injustice has done in the past, on that basis we have honor of sufferers. Okay, we have achieved based on justice and freedom of our land, respecting the people who have been sacrificed their lives for the country. So they have mentioned in all these points, and they have drafted their constitution. So let us have a question here. Yeah, the preamble to the constitution is declared to India to be in what? So we have come across the wordings like on which, that is sovereign, socialist, secular and democratic republic. So on this basis, in the first beginning of when India was declared an independent, when India was framing the constitution, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, were on these concepts it has been functioned. Okay, we can find the path to the constitution. In what path our constitution has been framed? See, first, before the constitution was framed, in the earlier, in 1928, okay, in our previous session, even in Indian national movements, we have discussed about 1928. There was a constitution was drafted by C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru. This personality, okay, these people have framed one constitution, and they have recognized it as an constitution, and they declared that the particular day when they have drafted this constitution was declared as a independent for that country. In 1931, there is resolution at Karachi, okay, on what? Independent India. They declared that 8 and other Congress leaders also, along with Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das, there are other 8 leaders. So under this resolution, in 1931 resolution at Karachi, they drafted one constitution. So this was the basic of the constitution, and after that we prepared our constitution when there was a dominant status that was prepared. But later on, in 1946, there was an assembly formed for making of constitution in 1946. Okay, it's called Constituent Assembly. Under this assembly, many of the representatives were selected. And it was one more point to be noted here. It was not, the elections were not conducted on based on universal adult franchise, and in generally the people were selected from different provinces, and at the same time 550 princely states also sent their representatives to the making of Indian Constitution in 1946. So the making of Indian Constitution was a very difficult task in different certain areas. Okay, so let us have a look our path for Indian Constitution. We have taken the sources from different countries' constitutions. Okay, we have taken a different sources from British Constitution, Weimar Constitution, that is German, American Constitution, Soviet, it's Russian Constitution, Canadian Constitution, South African Constitution, Irish. So different areas, if you take fundamental rights and all comes from Irish, British Constitution, parliamentary form of government, like the different countries, we have taken different concepts from different countries' constitutions. Okay, let us know about our Indian Constitution. Is a set of rules written in it. It's a set of rules where every citizen should accept or should bind up for that rules. Okay, it's a supreme law which will determine the relationship between people as well as government even. Okay, so it's a law where the laws were existed in it. So it should be, the people and government should function according to this constitution. So what it says. Here was a few matching the following for you all children. Okay, Motilal Nehru, B.R. Ambedkar, Rajendra Prasad, Sarojini Naidu. Option, this side column you can see President of Constituent Assembly, Member of the Constituent Assembly, Chairman of Drafting Committee, prepare a constitution for India in 1928. Can you tell which one of the following is a right matching? Yeah? Anyone else? Yeah. Your answer is option A, 2, the Member of Constituent Assembly. Okay, B.R. Ambedkar, Rajendra Prasad. Rajendra Prasad, you can find here the President of Constituent Assembly. Motilal Nehru. Motilal Nehru, you can see prepared a constitution in 1928. B.R. Ambedkar, the Chairman of Drafting Committee. Rajendra Prasad, President of Constituent Assembly. Sarojini Naidu, she was a member of Constituent Assembly. So this is the right options. The Constitution Assembly was formed in 1946. You can see a few of the leaders in this image. Once after draft was completed, you can see Motilal Jawaharlal Nehru was signing over here. The constitution was framed, the elections were conducted, and it was not on universal adult franchise. Please be noted this. Elections to be the Constitution Assembly was held in July 1946. Okay, the first time the meeting was conducted in December month in 1946. First time the elections were held in July month, and they have gathered and discussed. First meeting was held in December month in 1946. Okay, afterwards the country was divided, and when India and Pakistan was divided in 1947, so this Constituent Assembly members were also divided into Pakistan and India, and they drafted their own constitution. The Constituent Assembly that wrote the Indian Constitution has 299 members. Please note this point. 299 members, and the drafting committee, see these 299 members were divided into different committees. So each committee has studied a report and prepared a report on that, on what basis the country has to develop that principles or that point of concepts. Okay, so these committees have brought the information and referred to different countries' constitution and selected which one will be suitable for the Indians. Okay, and pick out these and finally it has been drafted by another committee. Okay, that committee was headed by B.R. Ambedkar. Okay, so the drafting committee was headed by B.R. Ambedkar. Preparing a draft also went on in the form of discussions. There was discussions and debates. There was several clauses taken place around the discussion. The assembly adopted the constitution on 26th November and finally it came to be effect on 26th January 1915. This, please note this two dates even. Okay, and here you can find some of the members. Children, please look it out, this image. Yeah, some of the members of the Constituent Assembly. Yeah, some of the members of this Constituent Assembly. The first one, Vallabhbhai Patel. He was born from 1875 to 1950s. He was from Gujarat. And as soon as the India declared as independent, he was selected as a Minister of Home. Okay. Abdul Kalam Azad, born in Saudi Arabia, but he was a member, become a citizen of the country. And T.T. Krishnamacharya, was born in Tamil Nadu, and he was also a member in the drafting committee. Rajendra Prasad, he was from Bihar and he was a president of this Constituent Assembly, and selfly he was a lawyer, well known for Champaran Satyagraha even. Okay. 3 times he was selected as the president of Congress party even, and later after independence he was considered as a prime minister. If you see T.T. Krishnamacharya, he was worked as a finance minister for the Union Cabinet Minister. Okay. Jaipal Singh, he was from Jharkhand and he was a sportsman and educationalist, and he was become the first national hockey team captain, founder president of Adivasi Mahasabha later in Jharkhand. Okay. So there are few other personalities even. Maniklal Munshi, we can shortly say K.M. Munshi also, and he was from Gujarat. He was also an advocate, children, and he was a famous leader from Congress, and he was follower of Gandhian, and he worked as, later after independence, he worked as a Union Cabinet Minister and later founded Swatantra Party even. Bhimrao Ambedkar, B.R. Ambedkar, we can say short form. He was from Madhya Pradesh. He was a main person for the drafting committee, and he was a social revolutionary and thinker also. Selfly, he was also a lawyer, and he was selected as a law minister, the first cabinet of post-independent. Okay. And coming for Shyam Prasad Mukherjee from West Bengal, he was Minister of Industries and Supplies. Next, he was an active member of Hindu Mahasabha. Later, founder president of Bharatiya Jana Sanghas, which is now the present roots of a part of BJP. Jawaharlal Nehru, Uttar Pradesh. He was from Uttar Pradesh and he was the Prime Minister of interim government, that means under British Raj. The lawyers and Congress leaders after independence also, you can say 1947 to 1952, first time elections were being held. So from 1950 to 47 after independence to 1952, during this period even he was the Prime Minister. Okay. Advocate of socialist, democratic and anti-imperialist movements and the first Prime Minister of the country. Sarojini Naidu, she belongs to Andhra Pradesh. She was selfly a poet, writer and political activist even. Among the foremost women leaders, she was the one among the famous personalities, and she was later appointed as a governor of Uttar Pradesh. Let's have a look. Durgabai Deshmukh, she was from Andhra Pradesh again, and a woman leader, and she was the founder of Andhra Mahila Sabha. Later, she became the founder chairman of Central Social Welfare Board. Baldev Singh belonged from, he was from Haryana. He was a successful entrepreneur and leader of the Panthik Akila party in Punjab Assembly, and he was nominated as he was a nominee of Congress Constituent Assembly. Okay, after independence, that he worked as a defense minister in the Union Cabinet. H.C. Mukherjee is from Bengal, and he was a vice chairman of this Constituent Assembly. Chairman is vice president. Chairman is Rajendra Prasad, and vice chairman is that H.C. Mukherjee. Okay, so the Congress leader, member of All India Christian Council even, and later he worked as a governor for West Bengal. Somnath Lahiri, and he belonged to West Bengal. He was a writer and even editor even. Later he worked for the member of West Bengal Legislative Assembly. So this is about what different major personalities who played an important role in the making of Constitution. Indian Constitution was framed by these famous personalities. The Constitution begin with a short statement. We can say that with a short statement, basic values, that's called preamble. The preamble completely gives a picture of the country, on what basis the Constitution was framed. Basically these wording: sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic, and equality, justice, liberty and fraternity. These are the ideal features or ideal basic features of the Indian Constitution when we adopted it. And we can say that you can find here sovereignty. Sovereignty in the sense the powers, supreme powers vested in the people's hand. We call it as sovereignty. It's a supreme rights vest in the hand. Okay, we can call secularism. Secularism means no religion is given importance. Every religion was considered as equal. So no, our country did not declare any of the religion as a state religion. Okay, as a country religion, we can say it's giving equal importance to all the religions. It's called tolerance of religions. We call it as a secular country. So India is a secular country, giving importance to all the religions equally. No religion is given priority among the country. Okay, so we call it's a secular country. Democratic. On why we call it democratic? We were selecting the representatives. Elected representatives were making the decisions. So we can say India is a democratic country. Okay, so then comes with justice. India follows the justice policies. The Constitution was framed based on justice. That means everyone, even people who have been from top to bottom, that means from common man to prime minister, everyone were minded of laws. So everyone, the laws were equal. So they were been framed based on Constitution. Okay, so everyone were given a justice over here. We can find a liberty, freedom. Freedom was given. In India, we have freedom to live, freedom to speak, freedom to move, freedom to express our thoughts. Okay, so every freedom to worship our own religions. So that's called liberty. We have some freeness. Okay, so we have that liberty in the country. Next comes equality. Everyone are equal in front of laws. Okay, so there is no differentiation on based. If you take example of South Africa, where we have seen that people were inequalities were there on based on race. Okay, in few countries like one religion was being treated in one way, that's giving some priorities. Like if you take Pakistan and all Islamic, if you take example of Afghans, natives were been that non Afghans were been thrown out or been they have went as a refugees for the different countries. Like so, like if you take example, that means there is in our country we have equality. We were treating everyone equally. So this is what on what basis the constitution was. The next comes fraternity. Okay, fraternity is the concept we can say where the constitution was showing a brotherhood nation. Okay, India exists with different type of diversities. We can find here country overall the country was different types of landforms we can see. Okay, regionally there were different, regionally, climatically, geographically, religion wise. Okay, we find different dialect language people existing in the country. So though we find diversity overall the country, we exist under unity. Okay, we were considered as an Indians. Okay, we do not have a separate citizenships even. Okay, we say that we are only Indians. So that's what we say the concept of fraternity. We follow the basic principle in the constitution. We show the fraternity of the country. Okay, unity in diversity we can say. Dreams and promises. In the constitution, when the constitution was framed, few of the dreams were been incorporated in the constitution. So Mahatma Gandhi was not the member of this Constituent Assembly, but even though his dreams were incorporated. His dreams he mentioned in one of his magazine called Young India in 1931, spelled out what he want the constitution to do. Okay, what his opinions or what he dreamed about the constitution, he have mentioned in that, and that was also incorporated. B.R. Ambedkar criticized Mahatma Gandhi's vision. Jawaharlal Nehru gave speech on midnight of August 15, 1947. He stated that when the world sleeps, India will wake to life and freedom. Freedom and power brings responsibilities. Services of India means services of the millions who suffered. The ambition of the greatest man of our generations has been to wipe every tear from every eye. So this is the first speech of Jawaharlal Nehru. So what he was, in his words, he says that the world was in the midnight sleep, but India was, after a long struggle, after 200 years of freedom movements, finally we have achieved our independence. Okay, so he mean to say that it was wiped our tears, every eye of that generations should remember and remember the sacrifices of the country. Okay, we can say in his speech, B.R. Ambedkar, he criticized Mahatma Gandhi's principles, his vision even in few aspects like equality basis, like but Ambedkar want some specific areas to uplift the low caste or the minorities, we can say scheduled tribes and scheduled caste and all. So on that aspects we can find guiding values of Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution have some guiding values. Okay, by reading the view of some major leaders on the Constitution, we can say by understanding what the Constitution say about its own policies. Okay, so it has a guiding values. More than 2,000 amendments were being considered. While making the Constitution, they have considered more than 2,000 amendments. The members have given deliberatively some speeches even. So they have incorporated in their volumes. Okay, so over 114 days in making of Constitution, they spend some days. Okay, so these days over the 3 years Okay, so the deliberations, whatever the meetings, whatever the discussions went on in these meetings, it was also was incorporated here in the volumes form. Okay, every document and the word spoken in the Constituent Assembly has been recorded. Please be noted this. It's called Constituent Assembly debate. Okay, so these debates are in 12 bulk volumes. Those what today our LLB students refer these volumes, and on what basis exactly the people were fighting, what sort of rights they should get. Okay, in these volumes they refer it and they discuss. Okay, so this is about our class. In today's class, Indian Constitution, and regarding this democracy, on what basis our country runs on. So on upcoming class, you can find about mathematics. Pranati will handle this class. You can have a good session for NTSE mathematics, that is coordinate geometry, in our next session at 8 o'clock. Okay. Hope you have enjoyed today's class. Keep practicing for the NTSE, practice bits, okay. Work on practice bits, solve the questions, read the concepts and solve the questions, and practice more for social science. It has more weightage in the NTSE exams. 40 marks, it's not a less, and you can score if you can achieve a good mark in social science. Okay, hope my class helped you all a lot in this regard. Thank you. Thank you, Shining of Nagarani.